Hello, everybody. I think we're on here. Hey, nice to
Hi,
see you.
everybody.
Thanks for joining us. This is Sonica right here. My name is Christian. We're the founders of the LoveWorks solution, and we're coming to you again from our home studio slash office while we're all stuck in our houses most of the time, which is seeming to be true for more and more and more people around the whole world. So, welcome. Thanks for joining us.
One of the things we want to talk about today is the power of a question. So when we're going through this kind of a pandemic, I notice my tendency sometimes to ask questions that aren't particularly illuminating or empowering and don't really take me in the direction I want to go. Like how long is this going to last? And, when is this going to be over?
How bad is it gonna get?
Right. What's happening in the news today? How much worse has it gotten? It's easy to ask questions that kind of take us down a trail that we don't necessarily want to go down.
Yeah,
And
so I'll just say the fundamental thing to understand here is that the question I ask will set my mind on a certain track. The question dictates where I go. Where do I go with my attention? Where do I go with my creativity? And where do I go with my mind's power? So, this was true before the coronavirus too. A good example is, I've sometimes in my life been asking myself, why can't I get anything right? Or why am I such a loser? Or why am I not successful enough? And, your mind will come up with answers to that question, but you don't necessarily want to go down the track of why you're a loser or why you're not successful enough. It just brings you more evidence to be down about.
well, the mind is kind of amazing because it will come up with answers to any question you ask. And we get to see that a lot in our relationship work, right, as well, where, we ask questions of our partners like, what's wrong with you? Or why
Yeah, I
can't you
know.
clean up?
I
Or
know. Why
what?
can't you just grow up? The even if we get answers to them, the question invites an argument. It just invites distancing, tension, and arguments.
So it can be really useful, first of all, to just notice what kinds of questions does your mind make up by default that are taking you down tracks that just make you feel worse and actually create a lot of disconnection both in yourself, with you and your relationship with your partner, with your kids, and your relationship with other human beings and the world.
And sometimes it requires for all of us, it requires some intervention to change often the track we're on. Because, in this day where the corona news is everywhere, doesn't matter where you tune in, what language you speak, it is everywhere. And it's just really easy to just kind of get sucked into that stream. Granted, there might be a good intention to keep us all informed, but a lot of it just promotes more fear and panic in myself. So it requires somewhat of an intervention to deliberately begin to ask some different questions.
So one of the things actually that came up for me last night, I read something in some news article saying that this is likely to, this quarantine experience is likely to last through into the summer. And what I did with that actually was like, okay, well, if this is it, then how are we going to make the best use of this time? Like instead of sort of waiting for it to be over, like how are we going to use this? How are we going to use this to make a bigger difference for other people out there in the world? How are we going to use this to augment and enrich our life experience here on this planet? How are we going to create a more delicious experience as a family or here in our home? I started asking questions that sparked all of this creativity and possibility that wasn't there when I was asking the other kinds of questions that kind of took me down the route.
Yeah, and it's really cool if you can use exactly what Sonia said. If you use it for, like, this is for individuals, and it's very much for couples as well. Like, you ask those questions in the sense of we. Okay, okay, we just saw somewhere that this could very well be going for another 4 months, let's just say. Great. As a couple, what do we need to set in place for that to be the best possible experience? What contingency plans do we need to make sure that we have, the things we need, both, physically and emotionally and spiritually? There, like, what plans can we make now that's going to have it be way easier next month, and next month.
I'll tell you, one of the best questions that I've used recurrently in my life to kind of move me from victim to power is to ask the question, if this were happening instead of to me, right? If this was happening for me or for us to create something even better, if it was happening for some good, positive purpose, what do I think that would be? And if I could use this to support myself to rise into a fuller version of myself, if we could use this to support us to rise to a fuller version of ourselves, what would that look like? How would that be? And just asking that question moves me from this place of victim and poor me and I'm stuck with these circumstances, and instead sort of shifting me over into this creativity focus. Like how could we use this? How could we use this for some good purpose?
Yeah, and Sonika and I, we apply this idea to everything, like to all the challenges in the world that show up. And you all know, even before coronavirus, it was true that there are so many challenges in our relationship and in our world that we have zero control over. So, one of us gets a really bad medical condition, a really serious illness, or, we have financial disasters, loss of job, loss of income, families, aging parents that need extra help. There's so much of that stuff where we have absolutely no control over whether it happens or not. But Sonic and I, we have just always insisted on, and sometimes, like I said, it takes a little mind intervention. We have insisted on using it for that purpose. Okay, since it's here, it's as if we're enrolled in this class now. That's the Corona disaster class. Okay, great. Since we're in this class that we didn't want to sign up for in the first place, but we're in it all the same, great. How are we going to make the best out of this class? If we pretend that it was here for some good purpose, what would that be?
So there's all kinds of great questions you can ask. Like what's one important thing I'm going to make sure I achieve today? How can I maximize my energy level throughout the day? What's one thing I can do to take care of my body today?
What's something I could do for you today?
Yeah, what's one thing we can do for our relationship to maintain our love and our connection with each other?
Yeah, what's one thing I could do that would tell you, I see you, I love you, that I haven't done in a while?
Who could I reach out to today that might be really struggling through this experience where I could make a difference by making a phone call or a Zoom call?
How can we get together with the people we can't get together with?
Or even another one, which is really, what am I feeling right now? Where could I be more vulnerable in this moment? Where could I be more truthful? What is something that I have always wanted to do that I've been afraid of doing that I could do now?
Yeah, what's something we could invent today that would be kind of an in-house adventure?
So you can kind of see when I think it's important, and really the gift I would love to give to all of you is that the questions we ask are much like beliefs. They lead us in a direction, right? They point our focus and they determine how we feel and the actions that we take. So just by shifting and asking a more deliberate, empowering question that kind of shifts our focus can actually completely alter our whole mood, our whole feeling, get us feeling more powerful and more creative and also more connecting in our relationship.
Yeah, so particularly when you catch yourself asking questions like, when is this going to be over? Or can't you just get your act together? Like that, those are the times to really catch yourself and see, okay, great, hang on a second. What else, what better question could I be asking right now?
And really, just pick one. Just pick one question that's going to take you in the direction you want to go, and just notice what gets produced as you do that.
Yeah. Thanks for tuning in. And until we see you tomorrow, take really good care of yourself and each other.
Bye, everybody.